What fact makes you feel old? That the 90s were not, in fact, 10 years ago. Almost 30 years ago soon. WTF. I remember being a kid in the 90s and hear people talking about the 70s and 80s, which might as well have been the 1600s to me. And now, the 90s are further away to today than the 70s and 80s were back then. Insanity. When someone says 30 years ago, I still think 70s at first. Fucking hell. Liar. I've seen the transition from videotapes to DVDs to Blu-ray to streaming. Your username suggests you are my age. My parents told me of the format wars in the early 80s. They decided to buy a VHS player while my very stubborn late grandparents went Betamax. I remember going to their house for meals later in life and always seeing their old Betamax player literally gathering dust on a shelf, totally unused because they didn't know how or where to get rid of it. I remember when you just watched whatever the television wanted to show you at that particular time. The Watergate trials ruined my after-school cartoons, tell ya what. Netflix used to be a mail service. I had stock in 2005. Tripled up and sold. Yeah, I remember having the 3-disc deal and setting up my queue with movies or shows to have sent to me. I'd always lose a disc or have it sit on my TV stand and forget about it for months at a time. I teach high school seniors. I'm now teaching kids who weren't born when 9/11 happened. 9/11 to them is like the Vietnam War to me. Just something in the history books. In my early years of high school, I used to wonder what my generation's moment would be. Like for my mom, it was JFK being shot. For my grandma, it was Pearl Harbor. Mine was 9/11, it was my senior year on high school. I wonder what it will be for these kids. It's never something good. I'm repeating myself, the Berlin Wall has been gone longer than it ever existed. My mom was honestly surprised when she realized that 9/11 sounded like such an old historic event to me rather than something that happened yesterday. It made her feel old, lol. We are closer to the year 2039 than 1999. Shut the fuck up. No, it isn't. I refuse to believe. I wasn't even alive in the 90s. Holy shit. Edit, lol. I think I started a domino effect. I feel like we're just as far from 2030 as we are from 2008, is worse. Maybe cause I'm young though. My generation lived an analog childhood and a digital adulthood. So anytime something makes me feel old, I just remind myself I was born at the time I would have chosen for myself. Yes, 4 TV channels, a landline, and now this wouldn't change a thing. I'm glad I got to grow up at the time I did to see video games and computers go from basically nothing to what they are today, but being in high school in the 80s seems like it would have been fun with the fashion and music. At the same time, I probably won't be alive to see space travel being a normal thing unless we make some insane breakthrough. I just turned 30 and I've only just started to notice that the kids are mentioning things that are popular that I have absolutely no clue about. I still haven't got a clue who Billie Eilish is, for instance, and there's a lot of new slang that is just gibberish to me. Yeet. Not knowing what the kids are into is one of the perks of aging. That and not being dead. Obama was elected 11 years ago. And I'm old enough to remember when people truly believed there was zero possibility of there ever being a black president. This one put things into perspective. I was a 7th grader when he became president. I have a coworker who was born the year I was hired. I expect this very soon. 18 years with the same company. The Berlin Wall fell 30 years ago. YouTube is already 14 years old, Wikipedia is 15 years old. The PlayStation 2 was released 19 years ago. The Nintendo DS was released 15 years ago. Yugoslavia hasn't been a thing for 16 years now. Brazil is good at football, right? Well, they haven't won a World Cup for 17 years now. The movie Cool Runnings came out 26 years ago. The first iPhone came out 12 years ago. The first SpongeBob episode aired 20 years ago. Yugoslavia hasn't been a thing for 16 years now. That reminds me of when I was looking at a map of Europe and wondering, wait, what happened to Yugoslavia? Oh, that's gone. Wait, what about Zaire? Oh, that's gone too. Reddit's 13. The fact that I'm 71, yo. Hope all is good your way, old timer. Thanks for being here with us. 67 here. The oldies station now plays the music I grew up to. Classic rock now dates to the 90s. The oldies station played 50s, 60s music growing up, now they play 70s and 80s pop. Classic rock was from the 60, 70, and slightly 80s. Now I hear Nirvana and Pearl Jam on the classic rock station. First time I heard that I was shocked. That people accept live-action movies as suitable replacements for the original animated versions. I'm looking at you Lion King, Aladdin, and now Little Mermaid. Oh God, are they ruining The Little Mermaid as well? Jurassic Park was released 26 years ago. The Matrix is 20 years old. Transformers, the animated movie, was released in 1986, 33 years ago. But that's not what makes me feel old, it's that it was set in the future of 2006. 2013 was 6 years ago. Shit feels like yesterday. There are now Minecraft nostalgia videos on YouTube. Remember Tobuscus? That people in this thread are calling the 90s their teen years. I'll make you feel even older. I was born a few years after 9/11, so to me, since I didn't even know about it until I was old enough to comprehend something like that, 9/11 feels like an old historic thing that happened, like Pearl Harbor. The fact that I'll be 50 this year, lol. People born on 9/11 can join the military already. Technically, people born on the same day as Kesha's song, TikTok, can join the military in some countries. Star Wars came out 20 years ago. Not the originals, the prequels. Seeing so many musicians and actors getting popular that are younger than me, it makes me feel like I've accomplished nothing so far in life. I guess I'm jealous of their talent, and the fact that they put it to use. Billie Eilish, Halle Bailey. Declining health as we age. Several of my friends from college have died of natural causes. Me, I've developed cataracts, arthritis and diabetes. Edit, typo. I was amazed that I outlived my rock idols and turned 28. Now I sleep with wrist braces on for carpal tunnel, I don't dance much because of the bad discs in my back, and I supplement my diet with fiber. Woo. The Olsen twins are 33 years old. The Nintendo Wii came out 12 years ago. I thought it wasn't more than 6 tbh. I remember when Amazon only sold books. In not very long, we will say, back in the 20s. My baby cousin who I remember as a 1-year-old is already 9. That all the trends in fashion are coming full circle back, first from the 80s, my childhood, and now the 90s, my teen years. Very few people reading this actually know why a pencil is better than a pen for winding a tangled cassette tape back up. That all the bands that I loved as a teenager in the 90s are pushing their 50s or already knee-deep in it. When I was 17, I was obsessed with Blur and had the biggest crush on Damon Albarn. He turned 51 this year. Still a massive talent. I'll listen to anything he puts out. Getting tired around 10 p.m. I remember staying up till 1 a.m. every night and going strong the next morning, but not anymore. The newest coworker at my work is a Gen Z. Every millennials is now over the age of 20. High school students now are younger than 9/11. That some people are already calling Skyrim an old game. Jacking off to people born in 2000. My son is saving to get married and I feel I am just getting the hang of life. I went to Blockbuster as a child, constantly before they closed. 2010 was almost 10 years ago and not like 2.